welcome to East Valley High School's College Bound RePledge event. For those who tried to join us on Facebook Live, apologize about the technical difficulties, even though we had tested it out 5 to 6 times and thought we were good to go. Of course, it didn't work the moment we needed it. Anyways, here is the promised recording of that information. Hopefully you find it useful. My name is Dave Rovick. I am the Gear Up Coordinator at East Valley High School. I serve the class of 2023. However, the information contained in this presentation will apply to any student at East Valley High School who applied for the College Bound Scholarship in middle school. Doesn't matter what grade you're in, and you got that scholarship, this information will be applicable. I'm going to try and run through this as quickly as possible, but I also want to make sure I get all the information out. At the end, you'll see information on who to contact with questions. First, I want to talk about what we mean by when we say the word college. We are not talking about just four-year universities. We are talking about any formal education after high school, sometimes referred to as post-secondary education, and this includes programs that offer bachelor degrees, associate's degrees, certificates, credentials, and apprenticeships. So all kinds of educational opportunities after high school. Why is college important and education important? A lot of different reasons. We can't go through them all, but one specifically I want to point to here is 3 years ago, they did a study looking at job openings in the state of Washington from 2020 to 2025. And you'll look at these statistics here, the percentages. I won't run through them all, but if you add them up, nearly 70% require more than 1 year of post-secondary education. That doesn't mean there aren't opportunities for those who do go on. I am not saying that at all. In fact, people who are very driven, hardworking, and passionate and interested in what they want to do will be, in my opinion, will be successful at whatever they do. But I want to present this information so that people know, and many of us aren't sure what we are doing in ninth grade or in high school, that what are the things that keep your options and opportunities open the most. And attaining some level of education after high school keeps lots of job opportunities open in this state, but throughout the country. College is expensive. That is true. Our cheap options are community colleges, and in this state, those are about $4,600 a year. Not cheap. College is out of my reach. Another reason we hear from students is college is just, it's tough. High school's tough, and then I got to do more of that. And I show these last two slides for two of the main reasons we see students maybe not choosing not to go on to get some education after high school. And how that applies to College Bound is College Bound directly deals with that first one, that college is expensive. It is expensive, but that does not mean college can't be affordable. And for families eligible for College Bound, it becomes, I would say, extremely affordable for what you can get out of it. So what is College Bound? It's an early commitment of state financial aid to 7th and 8th graders. A lot of people wonder why they do this early, but much research has shown that students and families beginning as early as middle school decide college might be out of reach for a variety of reasons, and one of the main reasons is cost. You see the price tags listed in all these universities, and you multiply that by 2 years or 4 years, and that just seems like not feasible, not realistic. So that's why they've asked for this early commitment. What it is it combines all state financial aid together. It's a commitment from the state saying, we will cover your tuition, comparable public rate, some fees, and a small book allowance. So what does it specifically cover? Talked about this briefly, but it covers the average cost tuition at public rates. So if you go to a public school, all of them have to list their tuition and fees out. That's what they're talking about. And generally, College Bound covers most of that. Because some fees, some fees are included in that listed price in the university, and a small book allowance. Honestly, you can just ignore small book allowance. That's what the law says. In the background, that's what it does. But I have not seen a university dole out or have it line out small book allowance from College Bound. So for all practical purposes, you can ignore the small book allowance, but don't worry, it is in there and it's part of that covering your tuition and fees. What does College Bound not cover? Housing, meal plan, transportation, healthcare, and other fees. Those can be significant, I don't doubt those, but do know this, that many, if not most College Bound students who get into a school, they will typically receive other financial aid that can help cover those costs. And by College Bound covering those initial costs of tuition and fees, some of those other things like Perkins loans or the grants you might get can help cover those, or the scholarships that hopefully you're applying for also. Specifically, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, even though the slide has a lot of numbers on it, but this first column here, some people want to know dollar amounts. I understand that. Here's what this year the college bound promise was from the state. So if you attended the University of Washington, you'll see here they promised 11,248. If you attended one of our amazing community and technical colleges in the state, 4,608 was covered. That pretty much covered it did cover all the tuition and fees at our two local ones, Spokane and Spokane Falls. This University of Washington one, you'll see Eastern here. For the four-year schools, public ones, it typically covered within a few $100s. Some it covered all, but most it was about $400 or $500 lower than that. But it covered most of it. You may notice here private four-year nonprofit schools, so your Gonzaga, Whitworth, Seattle U's. There's more than a number of those in the state. This college-bound promise covers 11,904. Now, many of you may say, well, that's nice, but those price tags on those institutions are much higher. Yes, they are. But do know that many of those institutions have a lot of other need-based aid that college-bound students, if you get into their schools, probably qualify and will get in addition to your college-bound scholarship. In fact, some of the private four-year schools have tried to make that very readily apparent to college-bound students. So some like PLU, Pacific Lutheran, Seattle Pacific, and Whitworth, more closer to home, have made their own promises to college-bound students. At Whitworth, they call it the Whitworth-bound scholarship. College-bound students who have this scholarship get into Whitworth and have a 3.5 or higher high school GPA will get all of Whitworth's tuition and fees covered, which is just under $41,000. Multiply that times 4 years, that's $160,000 Whitworth is guaranteeing to college-bound students who get into their school with above a 3.5 GPA. So if you're interested in private schools, don't rule them out because of the high price tags they may have. College Bound works at 66 different institutions in the state. And this is one of the things I love about the program. It is so many different opportunities. All the public 4-year and 2-year schools, but there's also private 4-year and 2-year schools, and there's technical schools. You'll see Gene Juarez, a cosmetology program here. You see some technical schools. So there's endless opportunities to get degrees, certificates, and whatnot to help in your career and education. And down there is the link to all the institutions that are eligible. Oh, and by the way, they are only work at in-state institutions. Applying is a two-step process. Most of you should have, because if you didn't, it's too late, applied in 7th or 8th grade, filled out the form that's saying you were financially eligible, and the student signed the pledge. That was done. You should have gotten a certificate. If you got that certificate, you're college bound. No one gets kicked off the college bound list until their senior year when things get checked. So if you got it then, you'll remain on the college bound list. The second step is what we're going to spend some more time in talking about today. The pledge your student signed, you have to fulfill that. We'll talk about what that is in a second. You must meet those income requirements. Again, those will be checked the senior year when you and your family fill out the FAFSA, which is the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, or the WAFSA, the Washington Application for Student Financial Aid. Most will fill out the FAFSA. Those who are not eligible for the FAFSA can fill out the WAFSA. And then to actually get the scholarship, you have to attend one of the eligible institutions within 1 year of graduating high school. So, what is that pledge? Some people may think it's hard. What do I commit myself to? It's not that hard. It takes some work, but it's not what most people think of when they hear the word scholarship. The GPA requirement to keep college bound eligible is a 2-point higher GPA in high school. That's a C average. I think that's doable for nearly all students. It may not get you into all college bound institutions. Your 4-year schools, typically a 2.0 is going to be hard to get in with. But all our community and technical colleges have amazing programs and opportunities. 2.0 is more than enough to get you in there. You must have no felony convictions. Fairly easy for most of our students to do, but I need to mention that. And then again, you must be income eligible as determined by the college who processes your financial aid by the FAFSA and WAFSA information. And then you must, enroll within an eligible institution within 1 year. So some people want to know, am I still eligible? The only people that can really tell you that are the financial aid offices at the colleges through their award letter process. I can't, your other counselors can't, even the people who run the program won't tell you that. But you can use this and we can give you some guidance on, do you think you still fall within the realm of financial eligibility? One thing of note, this chart isn't so public. It's not secret, but most of the financial eligibility charts you'll see, like on their website and on applications, are for the middle school application process. It is different. The eligibility income charts are higher for those students who are seniors or in college applying. So you want to know, you may look at the income chart and say, middle school income application chart, and say, we're not eligible, but you may actually be. I've highlighted that here. Those are the incomes for this year's college class. Now, these change every year based upon numbers, so this will change next year, but typically they are not going to change drastically. So that can give you some idea of, do we think our family is still financially eligible? Real briefly, GPAs, what is that? I mentioned it. A 2.0 is a C or above, but here's a breakdown of what GPAs are. If you have more GPA questions, definitely talk with probably any of your teachers, but your high school counselor can help you with that also. It should also be available in Skyward. Other information about it. You must enroll within 1 year of high school graduation. So some students maybe aren't sure if they want to go. Maybe they've changed their mind. Maybe they have some other plan for a short period of time, for a semester or a month. You want to travel the world, or you want to go do a service project. That's fine, but you do need to enroll within 1 year. So as an example would be seniors graduating this year typically apply and enroll next fall. 1 year means you have to enroll in an institution by the fall of the following year. So for this year's seniors, who many will enroll in fall of 2020, they would have to the fall of 2021 to enroll and still be eligible and keep their college-bound scholarship. It is a 4-year scholarship, skipping down to the third point. That is defined as 12 quarters or 8 semesters. But you must use that 4-year scholarships within 5 years of high school graduation. They want to make sure you're moving along, not dragging it out and stuff like that. So like I said earlier, you can go a year later, or you can start right away and maybe you want to take a break, or you need to do an internship or whatever. You can do that, but if you want to use the full 4-year scholarship, you must do that within 5 years of graduating high school. You must remain in good standing at the college you are attending. Typically, that's around a 2.0, but you want to check with your school when you get there. And then you must file the FAFSA and WAFSA every year, and that is because they will check your eligibility every year. So a plus side of that is maybe 1 year you apply and you got a bonus, or I don't know, you're not eligible, and you won't get your college bound that year. But say next year things change, you don't get the bonus, because that's the point of a bonus. Typically we only get them once. They'll check, and then maybe you qualify and you will get college bound the next year. So even though you might not be financially eligible 1 year, that does not eliminate you from possibly getting college bound in future years going forward. Another thing of note for those who might be thinking out of state, if that's where you want to go and you believe you go. Know that you won't pay for it, but if you choose to transfer back, say you go to Florida because you think it's sunny, but you realize it's too flat, you want to come back to Washington, as long as you do that within a year and enroll in one of the eligible institutions and you're still financially eligible, college bound, again, will still be there for you. College Bound would like to stay in touch with you, give you up-to-date information. You can email them there at collegebound@wasac.wa.gov, or there's this link here that is in this presentation, but I will also put down in the description of this below. Send them your email information so you can keep up to date. They typically don't send too many emails, so if you're worried about getting inundated, I don't think that's a worry. And then closer to home, who can help you? There's obviously the counseling staff at our high school, and there's who serves who and their contact email. And then Miss Stevens and I work in the Gear Up office, and more than willing, we'll help any student, but typically we are here to serve the class of 2023. So if you are a ninth grader or a family member of ninth grader, we might be some of the people you start with first. We hope you find that information helpful. Again, if you have more questions, don't hesitate to contact us, and have a good day.